Great. So if you all can just make sure, let me know through the question section that you can see the screen just fine, that please do so. Yeah, so if y'all could just let us know that you can see the screen with the PowerPoint on it. I don't want to get started and then find out halfway through that somebody couldn't see. All right, there we go. All righty, great. So yeah, I hope everybody's Friday is started off well, and that you'll have a fun 3-day weekend to look forward to. This webinar is a guide to making the best out of your VISTA year. We're going to talk a little bit about the ins and outs of the Illinois Affordable Housing Support Project and Housing Action. We'll also discuss some best practices for professionalism in the workplace, and then even some specifics on policies for AmeriCorps Vista and best practices that we've identified for AmeriCorps Vistas in the Illinois Affordable Housing Support Project. So, Housing Action's mission statement is, we are a statewide coalition formed to protect and expand the availability of quality, affordable housing throughout Illinois. Together, we empower communities to thrive through these 3 programs. We have our community outreach and organizing, we have policy advocacy, and then we have training and technical assistance. So the general idea is we get a wide coalition together and we conduct outreach with each other and get to know what everyone's doing so that we can help them and train them with their technical assistance, and then also advocate for them on a federal and state level through policy. Now, the Illinois Affordable Housing Support Project is managed under the organizing department. So essentially the way that our structure works is that as a coalition there are 150 organizations that make up Housing Action's membership. So all of these members can apply for AmeriCorps Vista members to serve at their organizations, and anywhere from 20 to 30 get approved per year. And so this year it's about 25. And Housing Action supports these AmeriCorps Vista members by recruiting, training, and managing them throughout the year. So all of your host sites are members of of the Housing Action Coalition.
So, second slide. This slide shows a rudimentary organizational chart of IAHSP. You can kind of see the key point to observe here is that the arrows are going to and from Housing Action, and then to the host sites, to Vistas, and the Vista leaders. This is kind of showing that we're all in communication with each other.
Right. Those blue arrows are the communication channels, so to speak. And I guess the point of how the arrows are shaped is that, as you can see, among Housing Action, the Vista leaders, Vistas, and host sites, everybody's talking to everybody. We have a lot of different ways that we can communicate. We have webinars like this. We have the monthly reports. We have monthly check-ins. We have on-site We have on-site check-ins where your VISTA leader will come to your host site and conduct one-on-one meetings with your supervisor and yourself. Our supervisor, Gianna Baker, corresponds with the host site supervisors all the time. And then one key thing you'll see is how the arrow from Housing Action, the Corporation for National and Community Service, doesn't reach out to everybody else. And yes, as I'm sure you all are aware, CNCS does send you all emails all the time about different trainings they're offering, different ways to connect with AmeriCorps Vista members, and so on. Ideally, though, how we want to be the people that are talking to the CNCS about the Illinois Affordable Housing Support Project. So we do ask that you all talk to us before you bring up anything to them, because that's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
So a few things that we will be getting into throughout your year are retreats and peer support, as well as days of service. Our retreats will be a fall and a spring retreat. The fall, I think, is going to be maybe November?
Yeah, the fall retreat should be the middle of November.
Okay. So we're looking at middle of November for our fall retreat. So our retreats are mandatory, and they're just to kind of get us all together. We'll do some workshops. We'll discuss like how everything's been going at your host site. We'll also have things called support days, and these will happen in between events. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you all know that we have our check-in calls with you. Those are all kind of support tools so that we can make sure that everything is going good with you. You know, praise about your accomplishments, talk about any issues before they could become a big issue. Mm-hmm. We're also going to be coordinating days of service. So, you know, most of you should know about the 9/11 Day of Service, which is coming up next weekend.
If you haven't registered, please do send us an email.
Yes, yeah, please do. And if you haven't received that email, send either me or Willie an email so that we can get you that information so that you can sign up for it. There are going to be shifts, and we'll have like the information and the contact information for all that when we're going to be meeting, et cetera, et cetera. So just let us know. And then we have our MLK Day, our Martin Luther King Jr. Remembrance Day, I guess. That is going to be in January, and that has not yet been planned, but as soon as we do know all the details, we'll get that out to you guys, and we'll start, again, doing sign-up sheets to whatever we're doing for that. I did have a question, or actually earlier, and I'll just put that out there, that some people couldn't make these events because a lot of these, the Service Day events are here in Chicago. So if you're at a further away site and you're not able to make it for one of these service days, but you'd like to do something at your host site, that is totally fine. We definitely encourage you guys to do some sort of a celebration or remembrance with your community.
Yeah, just let us know what you're doing, too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, let us know. We'll help you get some materials, get some supplies together, help you with the planning even. Mm-hmm. So.
Mm-hmm. There is that last point. As VISTA members through Housing Action Illinois, you'll start to see that Housing Action does offer a lot of trainings and workshops, and that is usually through our training and technical assistance department. If you come across a training that you find relevant to your VISTA work or towards your professional development, let us know, and we'll see what we can do about getting you in there. We, at the very least, can make it a discount, and most of the time we can get you in there for free. But yeah, sometimes they do book up full of staff members at other organizations, and so just let us know if you see one that catches your eye, and we'll see what we can do. Oh, and that's right. We're also working on finalizing a professional development curriculum that will be focused on various nonprofit and VISTA skill sets that you could find useful in any VISTA position. And we're working on the final touches so that we can hopefully start it sometime this fall. And so just keep an eye out in your inbox for that information.
And then just keep in mind for the trainings, if you have something already in mind that you'd like to go for, make sure to be putting that in your monthly report. And then we're going to bring that up in the check-ins so that we can, if there is something coming up, we can get you guys scheduled for it.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah.
Cool. So, our first VISTA poll. So in the questions section, please respond to this question from a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least and 10 being the best. Since you started, how easy was the transition to your host site?
We'll just give you guys a couple of minutes. You can write it in the chat.
Great, so we've got a 7 and 8. Those are good numbers. See if anybody else has anything to say before we move on. Great, yeah, so we've got some behind a 7 and an 8 and a 9. That's what we kind of like to see. You know, ideally everybody would say 10, but we know that that's in the ideal world. We like to think that we do a lot of preparation work with our host site organizations and the site supervisors to make sure that at the very least you'll feel comfortable by the end of the first few weeks with what your vet is, your office culture, your staff members, what your kind of work plan is for the first quarter or first 6 months. So we're going to move on. Thank you all. And there are some best practices for
easing into your host site.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you guys should have an on-site orientation checklist. Just want to go through that with, you can even go over that with your supervisor. But one of the most important things is observing office culture. So along with like taking the time just to get to know your coworkers and doing all the paperwork you guys have had to do, as well as reading any handbooks or manuals or any reading material that your supervisor gives you to kind of get to know the office, you want to observe around you how your coworkers are interacting with each other, what is appropriate dress, what's appropriate to say to another person, as well as small little nuances like what they do in the morning, if everyone just gets straight to work, if they're a bit more social. All those things are really important to pay attention to so that you can easily assimilate. Another thing to do when you do meet with your supervisor, and even if you don't meet with them, you know, take the time, be kind of the forward, I don't know what I'm trying to say, be kind of a, I can't think of the 2 words I'm trying to use in my head right now. But
reach out to them.
There you go, yeah. Like, go above and beyond, I think is what I was trying to say. And, you know, ask them for a couple of minutes so you can ask them about time off and holidays. You can ask them any questions you've been having, things like that. So.
It's definitely a good practice to ask about time off and what the office's holidays are at the beginning of your term of service. That way you can try to plan vacations. I'm a big fan of when there's, like, I wasn't able to line it up for this weekend, but when there's a 3-day weekend, using your time off to extend that weekend. Just trying to find days like that where you can, really make the most of the holidays and time off that the organization already gives you.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the key parts of the orientation is the Supervisor and VISTA Memorandum of Understanding, for short, MOU. So we're going to ask that you all, in that dialogue box, that question box, list some of the key aspects of the Memorandum of Understanding that you all remember. And we'll give you a few minutes to type a response. Also, if you haven't gone over the Memorandum of Understanding, please let us know that too. Oh, nobody's responded, guys. I promise we're not. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Sam Hughes said, I sent it in so long ago that it's mostly out of my mind, unfortunately, and that's okay. And then Abigail asked which email attachment was it in. Your supervisor should have it, Abigail. And we told them to go over it with you, but we can follow up with that later on. We'll give you a call or send you an email after this webinar. Well, that's just fine. There are some major highlights that we definitely want to discuss, and there they are. Oh, they're supposed to be 1, 2, 3, not 1, 1, 1. That's funny. I don't know how that happened. You want to take the first bullet point?
So you guys should also know about your VADs. That just tells you a detailed description of your duties and what you'll be doing throughout the year. Just to let you know that may change. In fact, it may change with just ongoing developments, how the community changes, how your work is changing. If you want to add things, you and your supervisor should constantly be kind of looking at your VAD. You should be constantly reading your VAD, looking over your VAD, making sure that you're still doing your duties. But if you'd like to add things, that they're within the description of what you should be doing. And when you do speak with your supervisor about adding those duties, those can come to us, to the office, so that they can get approved, and then your VAD will actually officially change. So the VAD can change all through the year, so just be prepared for that.
Yeah. And then Sam McHugh wrote in the question box, but in general we communicated mutual expectations and established that I would assess needs and find mutually agreeable projects to work on. And that is a standard first 2 months project plan to assess the needs of the organization, and with the VAD being kind of like the places that you'll specifically look, and then finding projects that your supervisor and yourself think would be worthwhile to work on. That next point is all about the submitting monthly reports. As all of you should know, because of yesterday, we do require monthly reports to be submitted. They're important for a few reasons, but the first point I want to bring up is that it's critical to be honest with those monthly reports and transparent about the work you're doing. It's the main way that your VISTA leader gets a sense of what y'all are doing at your host site organizations, successes that you're having, challenges that you're having, progress on specific projects, relationships with your coworkers. And then the reports are important for a few other reasons. Another reason is that we have to compile reports twice a year, which we're actually doing right now. And we have to look back through all of your all-monthly reports and bring up and calculate certain quantitative and qualitative information. And then the last point, and one of the last reasons why I think it's important, is it gives you all a chance to reflect on your accomplishments and struggles of the past month. As you'll begin to notice, if you haven't already noticed, the weeks can go by pretty quickly, and it can be easy to just get lost in the day-to-day and week-to-week, month-to-month work without stopping, taking a breath, and kind of assessing your progress and where you're headed.
Mm-hmm.
So the next point is definitely related to why it's important to be transparent and honest in those monthly reports, and that's the administrative or even clerical and non-VAD related work. In the MOU, there are 3 bullet points that are related to that, to what we define as admin and clerical or non-VAD related work, and those are when we have 3 policies about it, I should say, and those are when staff and other than your supervisor ask for help, when your supervisor asks for help on non-VAD related projects, and this administrative clerical work being filing, answering calls, and making copies. The rule of thumb with all 3 of those points is as long as it's you're doing that type of work in moderation, or even that it's similar to the expectations of the other staff, right? So if everybody takes turns answering the incoming phone calls, then it is appropriate for you to do that as well. But if everybody's trying to make you make copies of documents for them and they're not even related to your work, that's where it gets to be not okay. You know, because the rule of thumb, right, and I brought that up, but part of figuring out what's going to be appropriate is building up that by observing and understanding what the organizational culture is. And this is also important because we want to make sure that you're not being inhibited in your progression towards your VAD goals and objectives. All right.
So kind of moving on from observing the culture of your office, you also want to be completely professional in the area that you're working, both community-wise and at the office. It's very much like when you wear your Vista shirt, or if you wear a name tag, you're representing that company when you leave the office. So you want to bring integrity and competence and respect to the title and what you're doing to both AmeriCorps Vista and your organization. Along with the points that it's noted here, like maintaining and developing your professional competency and placing the integrity of the profession above your own interests, it's going to also be important for you to discern the differences in your office and how the office culture can be improved upon. So a really good example I used last time, which I'll use again, was if there was a pile of dishes in the kitchen of the office, instead of adding to the pile, you want to do the dishes. This kind of puts you in a position where you're bettering the situation instead of contributing to it. And you want to always keep that in mind when you work with your coworkers, when you work on your work, and when you work with the community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the next slide is, why is this professional conduct important? Well, there are some obvious ones. It's always easier to work with people when you have a positive professional relationship with them. We found it to be a critical aspect to success in accomplishing your VAD goals. But kind of steering away from your VISTA project work, this professional conduct is important because the nonprofit field is not that big, and Chicago's nonprofit field is even smaller. So a lot of most executive directors know each other, and for that matter, program managers and program coordinators know each other. So coworkers can be used for references or for introductions into new networks. My executive directors linked me with another policy coordinator at a local foundation, and that person has lined up about 5 informational interviews with me with executive directors and specific program managers that I've wanted to get to know. And then even moreover, a significant amount of nonprofit openings are not publicized. The way that you find out about them is through an email chain. And that's happened at least 3 times since I've been here. Our executive director sends out an email to everyone saying, if you're interested, or if you know somebody that's interested in this position, give this person a call. And that's when conducting yourself professionally throughout your entire year can become critical, is when one of your ex-coworkers sees that and thinks, oh, Tanya would be great for this. I'm going to give her a call and let her know about this. And then even conducting yourself professionally can lead to having, positive relationships and building a network of professionals in your field. And I know networks are definitely kind of a hot topic right now, but I've talked with a lot of these informational interviews I've conducted. I asked the question, what's something that you wish you knew at the beginning of your career that you know now? And about half of them have said the importance of their professional network. So I guess it's a bit of a hot topic because people are starting to realize that it is pretty important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that everything? Do you want to add anything, Tanya?
I think that's good.
Oh, one of our favorite slides.
So you can see on the slide here there are some examples of being unprofessional. And learning what is unprofessional in an office atmosphere changes constantly because the person before you, the person 5 times before you, the person that was there 10 years ago is the reason why they made up that rule. Even though we all know at a societal standpoint some things are completely inappropriate in most situations, especially professional situations, these are situations that have definitely happened before, and this is why they're on the list. So number 1 is not showing up for a scheduled meeting or event without any prior notice. In a lot of jobs, that'll just get you an immediate fire. So you always want to keep that in mind, that professional conduct also relates to the way you communicate, that you make sure that you let your supervisor know that you're going to be late, that you're not going to be able to make it, and just sending a text going, yeah, I'm not going to be in today, that's not the best. Let's not even do that, really. Like, you want to give them a reason, a phone call, and we'll get into the different types of communication in a bit. But you want to give them a phone call, you want to let them know why you're not there, and preferably how you're going to make up that meeting or that event. Just always, again, put your best foot forward. Always have your suit and tie on, basically.
Right.
Getting overly intoxicated at organizational events, that should be a thing that is a no-brainer. But again, if you are going to indulge in alcohol, and that is fine with the office culture or with the event, and you have permission from your supervisor, we're not saying that that's, against the rules, but you still want to keep your professional conduct in check, basically, for the entirety of the event. And then looking at inappropriate materials on your computer. So inappropriate is a word here that can be very, very loose. It can be from watching something on a YouTube video that you don't think would be inappropriate or offensive, but you're doing it on your computer at work, and it is to your coworkers or to your supervisor. It can be just doing something on social media that's not work-related. There are a lot of examples of what could be considered inappropriate, but that's, again, something you want to look at throughout your office culture, and if you're not sure, ask your supervisor. And then complaining about money. So we all live off of the stipend, and there are going to be some times you want to just belt that out, and trust me, we encourage you to do that. You are always welcome to call us so that we can help you and get some resources. But there is a difference between asking for assistance or letting someone know that you're having an issue and then complaining. And hopefully we all know that difference. But the main difference is that complaining in a lot of ways becomes an excuse for either poor performance, or it becomes a point where your supervisor is not sure why you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and yet you keep coming up with the same information for them, basically. So we want to try not to actually complain about finances or money in general in the office.
Yeah. Right, if you're in a situation you're unsure how to handle, totally fine to politely excuse yourself and give us a call or give your supervisor a call. Yeah. So next slide. Email etiquette. Talk about professional conduct. As I'm sure you all, if not, are already aware, you're becoming aware that email etiquette is a critical aspect of the workplace. There's definitely some best practices overall that we have listed here. That second point reads, make sure to keep it professional, right? Grammar, heading, subject line, and no emoticons, and then there's an emoticon. This is a point brought up by our previous year's VIS leader, Robert McDonald, saying, right, you gotta keep office culture in mind. Some offices would find emoticons drastically unprofessional, and would probably even have a sit-down conversation with you. When we brought this webinar up last time, there was a Vista member that typed in the chat box, oh, I find this hilarious because everybody in my office really likes the smiley face with the sunglasses on, emoticon, and we use it all the time, right? Gotta keep your office culture in mind. You all can read, you see that the other points, responding promptly to emails can be another office culture. That could sometimes mean 5 minutes, that can mean 24 hours. And then again, even knowing when an email is appropriate versus a phone call, all about your office culture and your professional relationships. And the only way to find out is by asking your supervisor or just taking the time. It might take a few months, but I'm sure you all get a grip on when an email or a phone call is more appropriate. So moving on.
Okay, yeah. I'll take this actually. So there's a thing called the Hatch Act, and it basically outlines what you can and can't do representing as an AmeriCorps Vista on any platform, including social media, when it has to do with politics. So you can kind of see there's a side-by-side comparison here of things you can't do and things you can do. Things you can't do is use an office computer to advocate a policy or party. So that is including, like on Facebook, if you are listing that you're an AmeriCorps Vista member. That's also including, like if you have a website and you've listed it, like I have a portfolio website where I'm saying that I am AmeriCorps Vista. So that would be another place that you wouldn't want to advocate for a policy or a political party. Posting anything, siding with a political party in between 9 to 5. So you know what that basically means. It's while you're at work, not necessarily 9 to 5. And then I just kind of went over the social media, but yeah, it's basically a cut and dry. What I do, and Willie I think does something a little bit different, so he can give you that example, but what I do is I have certain social media accounts where I have my Vista plainly displayed, and that has no affiliation to anything political ever. And then I have ones that are specifically privately for me, and that is where I would be free to do that. So we're not saying that you can't be politically active, you can't speak your mind, but we don't, it's literally an act that lets you know that you can't have your AmeriCorps Vista title tied to any actions or words, even written words, anywhere on any type of media.
Yeah, I guess what I do, it's kind of similar to what Tanner does, but on my social media accounts, I just don't bring up, like, I don't let people know that I'm currently an AmeriCorps Vista member, and I can say what I want. I might have a LinkedIn, but that's my professional one, and so I'm also not really all that politically active through LinkedIn. The things you can decide it's pretty simple. As long as you're not saying that you're an AmeriCorps Vista member, you are a U.S. citizen. Go about your free speech, do what you want. Just don't use a computer or any supplies you got from your workplace. Don't be wearing an AmeriCorps Vista logo. Don't be saying you're an AmeriCorps Vista. Otherwise, you can do whatever you want. And then for the things you can and can't do, this also includes get out the vote initiatives. And then one final point about this slide. If you're unsure about a certain action you're thinking about taking, please give me a call. The executive director of the organization, that basically what Housing Action does for the Illinois Affordable Housing Support Project, the executive director of the organization that managed me in Arizona was very politically active and was able to help me do certain actions and activities while being an AmeriCorps Vista member. So I feel confident in my understanding of the Hatch Act, so feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email about if you're unsure about how to handle something. Oh, we have a question. This person wrote, I've been assigned as an administrator of the social media accounts for my site. Can I advocate likes for my site on my page or no? In a non-political way, that is. Yeah, if Abigail, if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying, can you advocate for your organization through your personal social media page? If that's the case, then totally yes. Feel free to do so. But we can get that clarified after this webinar. Make sure that we're on the same page.
Yeah, the Hatch Act is specifically for political views.
Yep. Great. Oh, right. This is those
Change this immediately.
yeah. These are those best practices that we've seen for AmeriCorps Vista members. As you'll see, the McNuggets of wisdom. That's good old Robert McDonald's legacy. Do you want to go over his, or do you want me to?
Sure. So go over your VED early and often. I actually already hit on that. What I kind of did was, as soon as I got there, I had my VED printed, and I actually had it on my little cork board where I had my calendar, and I had any events that were coming up, because I like to be very, very organized. And I said I had it there so that I could go and refer to it all through the day, the entire time. And then from time to time, when I would have meetings with my supervisor, I would bring that in as well, just to see if anything needs to be updated, changed. Your VED is a part of your sustainability as well. Even if the organization is going to get another Vista, it would be really nice if they had something completely updated to go off of. And then speak up if you don't have anything to do in the office. So this kind of goes into what you can kind of do to keep yourself more occupied, as well as this can be a really great professional development opportunity for you. Your organization may do, several things, and your responsibility in your VAD is maybe 2. But as long as it's within the confines of what you do, you can always expand that. So we definitely encourage you that if you're just having maybe a slow week or a slow day and you're done all your everything you've had to do for the day, go to your supervisor if they're available. Ask them what you can help with. If there's an event, that maybe you can participate in. And then be sure to budget your stipend. So this is where you just got to stretch your dollar, and it will be stretched. It's just really important to look into figuring out your finances for a very, very small budget. So things like going to financial counseling, just asking us, of course, at any time for some financial resources. You can always as well ask your supervisor if they know any community resources for you. Getting out there to just know what's in your community, meeting people. Networking is, especially with the communities that you work with, is also really, really important, and those can help you down the line. But yeah, anytime you guys need advice or help figuring out how to really make those dollars stretch, that's what we're here for.
That's right. And so then those three were some of my insights into critical best practices for AmeriCorps Vista positions. Right to that first one, your input is valuable, so don't hold back. It's highly common with AmeriCorps Vista members, especially members that are recent college graduates, to be hesitant about contributing to discussions and strategizing about from planning to implementation to evaluation of programs at organizations, especially when the coworkers of yours are old enough to be your parents. With that in mind, you also have to think they chose you, they hired you, they deemed you qualified to carry out specific activities and pursue specific objectives for a reason. Don't hesitate to contribute to the conversation. Again, don't hesitate to ask for help too, right? It kind of speaks to the don't overburden yourself. There's not a single person on this earth that doesn't like being asked what their opinion is or what their advice is. People like to give advice. Ask for people's advice. And if you're overburdened, ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness or failure. The last point, and I've wanted to word it in different ways, but I haven't been able to come up with a better way on a PowerPoint to keep it nice and concise. But yeah, change is inevitable, but growth is optional. The whole idea, right, your VAD can change. During my VISTA term, I had 4 different supervisors. I had to not renew a contract with the first round instructor. I had a lot of changes happen from what they first expected me to do versus what I ended up accomplishing. And so the general message is there are things out of your control, but what is in control is the way you handle it. And that's going to be true for every professional endeavor in your career, as far as I understand it. That's what all the adults are telling me. So yeah, that's that slide.
VISTA resources. So this is just a short list of what me and Willie and look, this is just a short list of what we can help you guys with if you contact us. I think a lot of you already know about SNAP, even if you're not from Illinois. I'm sure you know about EBT benefits or food stamps. They're all the same. That's really important just by getting by. That just shortens your monthly intake of money. So let us know if you have any questions about that. Healthcare benefits, if you guys haven't already checked out the VISTA campus, definitely make sure to continue to check that out. They always have really great stuff, webinars for training, but they also will have more information on the healthcare benefits. And then at this point, you guys should have chosen your healthcare selection from your My AmeriCorps portal. Again, if you guys need some help with that, let us know. Same with child care benefits. Those are also on your portal. And then I just explained the VISTA campus. It's literally full of a whole bunch of great things. They have a good amount of resources, from manuals to webinars to an actual forum so you can speak with other people, see what you want to do next. You even have a job board. So kind of keep that kind of in your favorites file on your computer. And then the outside employment policy and request form. If you are going to get a second job, we do have a form for you that is available on the link there. And then Facebook and Twitter. Yeah, we have a couple of Facebook accounts, and we also have a Twitter that you guys can follow if you're doing social media. I don't think we have an Instagram now or anything now. Okay, so yeah, it's just Facebook and Twitter. But definitely follow those. I think most of you have already joined the VISTA one that we post in. Yeah, keep up with that. That's just a fun one. But I also just posted the other HAI VISTA one Facebook that we have, and that has more kind of in-depth. It has articles. It has things about like our organization and all the great work that we do. So definitely keep up with that as well.
And then Abigail Davidson actually just shared a resource called mint.com, and it's a budgeting resource. So in our follow-up email for this webinar, we'll definitely send that out.
Very cool.
That's that for that slide, right?
Mm-hmm.
Final advice. For real, please, if in doubt about anything, call your VISTA leader.
Mm-hmm.
It is explicitly in our VISTA assignment description to support you all, and this is one way we can do so.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you're calling too often or that you're being a burden.
Yeah, we love to chat. We don't do anything here. We just sit here and wait for you guys to call us. For
conflict resolution, there's a bunch of different ways to go about it. One of the most effective ways we've seen it with our VISTA members is by using direct and open communication with the person you're in conflict with, not going above the person, whether that means going to your supervisor or to somebody above them. We found that it is a best practice to directly talk with them.
Mm-hmm. And that'll kind of help with the ups and downs you're going to have during service. Yes, due to the stipend, due to just the work in general, there may be some emotional, ups and downs. There may be some financial ups and downs. And again, that is what we're definitely here for. Please pick up the phone. And also at that point, you can, speak with your supervisor about any issues. So we want the issues to be small issues that can be resolved instead of huge issues that we later find out about that can't be resolved. So we always want to go towards a resolution with anything. So that is, again, what we're here for.
This is that last point. It reads, you now are part of an elite group of AmeriCorps members. Be proud of your service. I've definitely seen and heard AmeriCorps members become not just pouty, but almost a sense of like, oh yeah, I'm just an AmeriCorps member right now. I'm gonna go get a full-time job after this. Something to do with like not getting something to do with the low stipend you get.
Mm-hmm.
However, like the way that I frame it, and that somebody even this sergeant just got an article posted in The Atlantic about the importance of national service.
Mm-hmm.
You're basically doing pro bono nonprofit consulting work right out of, or no matter where you are in your career, but you're doing pro bono consulting work for a nonprofit organization. That's a serious field. If you look at your job description or your position description to a lot of position descriptions that people have, you have more responsibility and you have a much higher impact on your community. Be proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
This is not easy work.
Yeah.
It's not easy to live this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is not a job. This is so much more.
Yeah.
Think of it that way.
Yeah. And at that, we will conclude. That is the conclusion of our webinar for now. We want to open up the floor to any questions. Feel free to shoot us a message through the portal or through the question box.
You're welcome, Sam. Okay.
Well, alrighty. It doesn't look like anybody has any questions, so you know how to get in contact with us if that changes, though. So feel free to shoot us an email or a call, and we'll be sending a follow-up email. If not this afternoon, then Monday morning.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Have a great weekend.